So to start off, I'm going to swirl the tip into the blue and get a lot of paint onto my paintbrush, and I'm going to drop it here and drop as much of that paint onto here as I can, okay? Then I have to, of course, rinse out my brush. This is so shaky, it's shaking the whole thing. Sorry, guys. And I am going to repeat this process with red. I'm going to get a ton of red on my paintbrush. Okay, it needs to be highly saturated. I'm mixing that up, okay, with the blue. I'm going straight in. Now I'm going to try to get off as much as I can, so I'm kind of wiping my paintbrush off on the edge so I can get a lot of that paint. Now, this is a really nice, pretty burgundy, so you can see how you're going to make the color for the grapes, right? Because you can see that's a beautiful color for grapes, but that's not what I want. I'm making this really deep, dark blue that you see around the base of the bowl and around the rim of the bowl, okay? So I'm going to go back in for a little bit more blue because I see I need a little bit more, okay? And I'm going to add just a little bit more blue. And you see how dark this is getting. Okay, that's exactly what I want. Okay, so I am going to try to get the excess paint off, rinse my paintbrush, and now I'm going in for just a touch of yellow. And I'm going to mix that yellow up. Now this is creating a very nice deep gray. Look at that beautiful deep charcoal gray. If you were to continue to mix, you would have almost a black color. So this is a beautiful charcoal gray, okay? Now, in order for you to get it to have that really, really nice dark value that you see on there, you may have to work in layers, okay? So now I'm switching to a smaller paintbrush because I used a really big paintbrush to do this. So I'm going to wipe that off, put that aside, and I'm going to actually grab my smaller paintbrush, okay, because, and I want to get the majority of the water off of my paintbrush. So I'm going to use my napkin, okay, I'm going to use my napkin, and I'm going to wipe my paintbrush off. Okay, now I want to test this color out before I use it. So I'm going to load up my paintbrush and I'm going to test out this color. Now you see it makes a beautiful, beautiful gray. Okay, well I am going to have to use this gray and I'm going to put a base coat on the base of it where that black is. Okay, and I'm not putting the design in there just because for time's sake, I think it would be better not to do that. Okay, I'm just going to put the little black rim and so you see I'm going to have to work in layers. So what you have to do is you paint this base and then you're going to go back over it again to get it to a darker value, okay? All right, so I am going to just continue to paint this area. All right, and once you guys start to layer, you will see how much darker you can get this, okay? So basically what you are going to do after you've layered this a couple of times, what I would do is I would go up to the rim here, paint the small line on the rim, and then come back down again here and put another layer onto the bottom. You're going to have to go back and forth to really get that layering process to work correctly, okay? So I'm going to put just a really small, now you're going to need to try to be really careful with this part because this rim is not super thick, okay? Half of the rim on the watercolor bowl here is a light kind of tan, and half of it is this really deep gray color. So you're going to have to just do about half of it, okay? And then it kind of stops right there, and I think I'm kind of made it go up to a little bit too high, but it'll be okay. Because we'll just make it look like that's what it's supposed to look like, right? Right. Okay, so you need to try to make your lines even. Okay, try to use a really steady hand. I don't want you guys to hurry on this. I want you to go slow. I want you to really concentrate on making this great. So now that I've got that line, I'm going to go back down to the bottom, and I'm going to put that second layer on there because it needs to be darker, okay? So this is how you get a darker, deeper value when you're working with watercolor. You'll notice that it is much darker now, going the second pass over with this charcoal gray color, okay? And that's what you have to do. You have to continue to work in layers in order to get it to that value that you want, okay? Okay, and so I'm just going to kind of wave it, try to let it get a little bit drier, and while it's drying, I'm going to go back up to the top and give that another layer. You guys can work with me. I see some of you are doing it. You are all, go ahead and work with me. I just wanted you to wait until I could show you for you to start, okay? So everybody should be doing these steps now, okay? Okay, so just continue that process until you get the desired color or value that you want. I'm gonna give it a third coat because I want it to be a nice deep color here. Okay. Okay, so I'm almost at my desired color. Okay, I think I'm just going to need one more layer on there, and I have plenty of paint around my edges in order to do that. I'm going to show you now how I would get the lighter color for the wash, okay? So I've already got this nice charcoal gray here, and I don't need a lot of color, but you saw how we mixed this. So we used the blue, and so I'm just going to mix a little bit more because we are going to need just a little bit more here, okay? So I'm using the blue, and then I have to rinse my brush off. Okay, and I'm going to get it nice and loaded with the red again and mix that together. Try to get as much off as I can because I want to get a lot of paint for this. And then, of course, I'm probably going to need to go back into that blue one more time because it looks like, yeah, I need more. Okay, so here's this nice, really, really deep color. And now we need to add the yellow again. Okay, so now a touch of yellow. and that will give it that gray color. So you see, by adding the 3 primary colors, it turned into a really nice deep gray. I actually put just a touch too much of the yellow in it this time, but it's got a really nice, pretty charcoal gray. I'm going to add just a touch more blue because this background really has kind of a blue tint to it. So you can see that, well, and that was too much blue. Okay, so a little tiny bit more red and we should be set. So you have to just keep mixing until you get the desired color, okay? And if you've got too much of one color, just, you've got to balance it out, okay? So just a tiny touch of yellow this time instead of a lot. There we go. Let's see if that helps. It's more, I'm going to add just a touch more blue to get my color just the way I want it. Oh yeah, there we go. Okay, so now I've got the color the way I want it. This is really dark, so I am going to have to dilute it. The only way to dilute it is to keep water on my paintbrush, okay? So I am going to, and we can also use the eyedropper tool. I will pass those out to you. If you don't have an eyedropper tool at home, just use your paintbrush and get a lot more water and add to it just by putting more water in your lid, okay? And that's just as easy to do it that way too, which is what I'm showing you how I'm doing that right now. Just added water using my paintbrush to get this nice and liquidy, because this is what I am going to use to do the wash on my background, okay? And I want to do this process, okay? And another thing that I could show you too is wet on wet, which first you paint the background with your paintbrush and water, and you just have to be really careful not to get inside of your fruit. Just go around those edges really well, okay? Just kind of paint the background, and then just take your paintbrush with a little bit of water on it and go around those edges. And the paint just kind of spreads really nicely all by itself whenever you're doing it this way. Whenever you do a wet on wet wash, it will kind of expand into all of those areas that you just painted with the water, okay? And it leaves a really nice texture on your paint, on your canvas, okay? So wash it, and remember to go around the edges really nicely and carefully. And be really careful whenever you go to, the areas where you've got the fruit bowl, because you just painted in that area, okay? Now, if you want to add just a touch more blue to yours, you can. It's okay if our backgrounds are not the exact same color. I'm not really judging that you get the perfect color, but if you want to add a little bit more blue, you can do that. I like the blue. And let's see, I'm thinking we probably need to come down to about right here in this curve area with the background color. Watercolor looks really beautiful whenever you start painting and the colors start to blend in. It's just beautiful, and you'll see how that works as you're painting. It's just really beautiful. Okay, I've got to stop on this side because I still have to go back and add the grapes. And I have not done that, and I didn't add my orange and stuff, so I'm going to stop because I'm going to end up having to redo this entire thing and redraw because I forgot that I hadn't drawn that in yet. So oops. Okay, but this will get you started on your background and of course this really dark color. Now the same applies for the grapes. This really deep dark blue is great for the dark colored grapes. Okay, and then on the ones where you see just a smidgen of red, you know, in there, you add just a touch more red into your color, and you do those grapes with just a touch more red. Okay, now I'm going to show you how to create some other colors. And these are all of the colors that are used in this, if you guys look up here, all of these colors are the colors that will be used in this still life. So I've got all the different colors that I use, like for the background, for the dark colored grapes, for the red grapes. I used several different colors here. For the apple, I used this color and a little bit of this and a little bit of this because you need a little bit of yellow. You need a touch of the really deep red violet. You need a touch of red and red orange. And so you can see that I have created all of these colors, and I've only used the red, blue, and yellow to mix all of these colors. And I highly, highly suggest that you test them out before you put them on your paper, okay?